Today, I'm going to take you through some unique color combinations that are inspired by nature or animals or the elements. This was a super fun video compilation to make. This very first one is actually inspired by a flamingo. I had taken a picture on vacation of this beautiful flamingo with beautiful oranges and just gorgeous, beautiful pink colors. So I decided to do a painting. This was actually a collaboration painting with some other artist and was really inspired by those colors. I started by blending this background, and you can see that pretty tan color that the orange and the light blue created, and this felt so soft, almost like clouds. And this was very abstract with the reference of the flamingo, but I wanted to add, since the background was so soft, I wanted to add a pretty contrasting, harsh line throughout. So I taped off an area and I decided to do a swipe through the middle. This still to this day hangs in my house. I absolutely love this painting. So inside, I decided to do very similar colors to the background that I had painted, because with such a contrast of the big bold color and the soft background, I wanted it to still be cohesive. The color that I'm adding now was the surprise color for the painting. It was a very light lime green, and I added that color because of the leaves in the background of the picture. So now I decided to swipe through, and I chose black to swipe through because of the beak of the flamingo. It was tough to try to cover the entire area that I had taped off, but I did some small swipes throughout the triangle so that I could get it all the way to the edges. Now it's time to remove the tape, and this was so much fun. If your paint bleeds under your tape a little bit, you can take a clear, either glue or medium, and just run it along the edge, and it will seal it in so that the paint does not go off under the edge. And here's the final result. I love it. This next one is inspired by the element of fire. I love using reds and oranges on a black background. It gives such a bold statement. So this is going to be a fiery flower. For this technique, I used just paint and water, and I really just wanted to use bold colors. So I used a pyrrole red, an azo yellow, and an azo orange, and just a tiny bit of white to brighten the center of the painting. I love those first few passes with the blow dryer. It always gets me so excited. And the reaction of the white with the other colors created a little bit of cells right in the middle. I am loving this one. It's a little bit off center, and it's got a lot of motion to it. Once this dried, I was so happy with it. It looks like an explosion. So beautiful. This next one is inspired by a peacock. So I decided to use a dark purple base. And I, again, am going to be changing up the technique a little bit. So this is going to be a side design blowout. I chose lime green, a phthalo blue. I added a little bit of white to lighten it up. I'm using that same background purple color. And then I'm going to add in a little bit of gold. Using nature and the elements to pick your color palette creates some of the most beautiful color combinations. And so if you're ever just struggling with what colors to use, walk outside or look at some pictures that you've taken on a vacation or flowers, and you can find some of the most beautiful color combinations. Nature never fails me. I had wanted just a little bit more interest on that side. I felt like there was a little bit too much negative space, and you can always come back in and add sections that you like. And here is this side design. I really like this one. Next up, and one that I do often on my channel, is the ocean. I am always inspired by water. The beautiful colors, the motion of it, it's so soothing to me. And I've lived by water my entire life. So it is always my comfort zone that I come back to. This one, I was pushing myself with the design to create my crashing waves that I do, but on a 3 canvas panel. I also wanted to add some interest and make it look like there were clouds in the sky. And so I mixed in a little bit of blue and white for the base. Now, depending on where you are, the ocean looks different to you. If you are in the Caribbean or the Bahamas, it may be these beautiful, bright turquoise colors. If you're on the East Coast of the United States, it may look a little bit darker or a little bit more brown. It's different depending on where you are, and I think that is also something that makes it so unique. This painting, I really wanted to have this almost like a barrel wave and have lots and lots of motion in this one. Adding the white in really brightens the colors, and it doesn't make it pastel. It just really takes the phthalo blue and the Payne's gray and really brightens them up. So the fun part for the blowout on this one, and I will say this was a little bit more difficult working on 3 panels to get them to flow together nicely, but it was definitely worth it. I love using a couple of dark colors, a couple of bright colors, and a couple of lighter colors. It adds such a great contrast and is really pleasing to the eye for me. The crest of this wave was difficult to do with the blow dryer for sure. But here it is. I think the motion in this one is really great. It definitely gives me crashing wave. The last one is that I was inspired by is the desert. This was part of a commission. I did 4 different panels for a client, and they wanted to do places they have gone. And so this one was inspired by the desert. I decided to do browns, oranges, gold, and the light blue was the sky in the background of the desert. This one was definitely out of my color comfort zone, and especially with the brown, but the details up close that I'll show you at the end are so beautiful with the addition of the blue and the gold. This technique is called the turbulence technique, and you blow all the paints off the canvas, and then you come back in different directions, and it creates a lot of interest within the painting instead of it being very linear and blown out from the center. If you take anything away from this video, I hope that it is you can find tons of color inspiration within nature, and that there are so many different techniques that you can do with fluid art. Sometimes I get stuck in 1 or 2 of them, but revisiting old techniques and looking back at some of these videos, there are so many different techniques that you can do. So I hope that you get out there, that you explore, that you try new things, and you try new color combinations. The gold in this one really started to shine once it was dry, and I was not too upset with using this brown color. I think it added a nice contrast to it. But up close, you can see the beautiful oranges and the beautiful reds and that gold and how it created those beautiful cells. This one was super fun to make, and so was this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. Hope it gave you a little bit of inspiration. Thank you so much for watching. Happy painting!